All right, today I'm going to be covering some of my favorite songs of all time. Obviously, I have more favorite songs of all time than just these 10, but I thought I would just do a quick video here, going over these, kind of reacting to them a little bit, giving my thoughts on them a little bit. But yeah, let's not waste any more time here. We're going to get into the first track, which is Polly by Sumney. This is off of his second album, I believe, Gray, I think is how it's pronounced. Came out in 2020. This is the first song I heard from Sumney, and it absolutely blew me away the first time I heard it. You remain in motion. Just listen to his voice, man. Falsettos there, beautiful. Listen to those falsettos, man. I love the interplay of those like descending vocal parts here, those vocal runs. Okay, so obviously it's more of a mellow kind of heartbreak track here, but it's pretty interesting in the way it's done, in my opinion at least. And obviously it's kind of talking about this person who is a monogamous person, I guess is what you would call them. This person kind of has feelings for this polyamorous person, which you can kind of see in the, which line is that? If I split my body into two men, would you then love me better? So like I said, it's a heartbreak song, but it kind of throws an interesting spin on it. The lyrics aren't even really like what makes me love this track so much. It's more just the vocal performance, the production, the vibe of it in general. Those descending vocal runs are so heartbreaking, and in general the entire track is just, you feel the emotion in his voice in this performance here. And Sumney is just one of the best vocalists I feel like I've ever heard, like technical talent wise, and with his ability to convey emotion through his vocals as well. His falsetto is fantastic. I love his phrasing. I love just the tone of his voice. I know that one selfish. Me go and stay. Like I said, the interplay of those vocals, the da da da, and then the descending runs. It feels so lush, but stripped back at the same time. Harmonies, this last section here where he really goes into that falsetto and leans fully into it, it's just so beautiful, man. And then obviously with the poly, that kind of hits home again, the idea that this person is polyamorous. It is just a wonderful display of fantastic vocals and how to convey emotion through vocals, especially. I mean, if you guys haven't checked out the album that this comes from, Gray, it is such a good album. There's a couple weak moments on here, but for the most part, it's absolutely fantastic. And his album before this, I think it's A Romanticism, I think it's called. That's a fantastic record too. If you guys haven't checked out Sumney, please do. I don't think his singing is for everybody, because I think I played one of my songs for my mom, and she thought his vocals were kind of bad. Which I can see, like especially with that falsetto part at the end of the track. I love it. I find it absolutely just like ear candy, but I don't think it is for everybody, so if it isn't, that's okay, but I love it. All right, we're gonna move on to the next track, which is Sleep by Godspeed You Black Emperor. Saw these guys live. Great concert, and this is probably the best song by them if I had to choose. I mean, it's 23 minutes, so I'm not gonna play the whole thing. I'm just gonna kind of skim through it, but this just feels to me at least like kind of the quintessential Godspeed track. It comes off of Lift Your Skinny Fists, of course, their best album. Starts off with the Coney Island skit, of course. Such a meditative beginning. I mean, they always do a great job of growing their tracks, really making it feel like a full journey. These strings are absolutely friggin' like heartbreaking. And that distant wailing guitar as well. Percussion enters softly though. I mean, they're just experts at atmosphere. And then the switch up. Gives me chills every time, man. Tempo increase. And then the destruction right here. It's kind of collapsing, crumbling. And then we go into this second kind of half. This riff is just super meditative but dark. Subtle kind of chants in the back too really add to the atmosphere. They do make it brighter at some points though, changing to some more major sounding kind of chords. And then this builds into so massive. I mean, I feel like it just kind of speaks for itself. Obviously, I didn't play the whole thing. I'm not going to play the whole thing because it's 23 minutes, but I was losing out on the experience a little bit because I was skipping around. But when you do listen to this thing in full and really take it in, it is just a transcendental experience like most of Godspeed's music is. It's so varied in sections. There's clear sections to it that you can remember and recall. It's multifaceted, like I said, varied, but it's consistently like cinematic and just mind-blowing, I guess. It's kind of hard to put into words why Godspeed's music is so special, but it's a combination of great harmonies, very ambitious and long song structures, of course. It's the way they build these songs, the way they hold off at certain points and then really lean into it and get really intense at certain points. The first half of this track is a little bit darker, and then it turns into that like a little bit of a brighter feel to it in the second half, which if the first half is like the world crumbling, the second half maybe is kind of like the world kind of rebuilding. And they do kind of do that in their live show too. They do a lot of visuals of like apocalyptic things, but they do a great job of matching the sound with the visuals. Like you'll have some like riot footage or like protests, and then you'll have other parts where it's like these ruins or an abandoned city or something, and then you'll have other parts where it's like flowers growing or just like life in general. They do a great job of capturing that feel. Their music feels larger than life. It is just fantastic. It's the most beautiful that the end of the world could sound. We're gonna keep moving on though, because I feel like that one took a while. Next up we have the Miseducation of Lauryn Hill off of the album The Miseducation of Lauryn Hill. This is the final track off of that album. This is the one that I think stuck with me the most off of first listen, and it has continued to stick with me the most. I mean, there's probably a bunch of tracks on there that could be on this list and might be in later videos. This one is just the one I remember the most and the one I love the most. The writing is fantastic. Let's just get into it. I don't want to talk about it too much yet. Just the most insane piano, organ, and bass intro ever. The vocal runs, man. They're so clean and clear. I love these little ornaments, little organ runs and piano fill. It's just so beautiful. And I made up my mind to define my own destiny. And deep in my heart, and I
own destiny.
Like, it's unbelievably good. I'm not usually a huge fan of ballads, but I think you would classify that as a ballad. Let's just start with the instrumentation. I mean, the instrumentation is fantastic. It's busy at points, but it never takes away from the main focus of the track, which is, of course, Lauryn Hill and her vocals and her lyrics. But the entire vibe of the track, the strings, the kind of epic nature of it, all makes it have this kind of important feel to it. It makes it feel like everything she's saying is super important. And then when you look at the lyrics are fantastic. It's about kind of taking control of her own life and kind of becoming educated, I guess, in the sense that she was miseducated before because people were constantly telling her what she should do. But now she's taking control of that and she's realizing kind of that her life is her own life and she can do what she wants and she can make her own decisions. I made up my mind to define my own destiny. I mean, it's not like the most groundbreaking sentiment or everything, but I think it's just written in a really beautiful way, and it's just the grand nature of it that really makes it feel so important, so impactful and emotional. And like Lauryn Hill, freaking Lauryn, her voice, man, I could just listen. The vocal performance on the song is like one of the best I feel like I've ever heard. Like, the vocal runs are so clean, so perfect, but she still captures that emotion. The high notes, the belting notes, the range, just everything. It's so freaking good. It's so good. I love like the ornaments, like I said, the little intricacies of the instrumental, the little piano runs, organ fills, the sweeping string arrangements. It's top notch. It's top tier R&B, soul, whatever you want to call it. All right, next up we have Bjork. We have It's Not Up to You. This is off Vespertine, which I loved. Bjork is like growing on me like crazy. I feel like Undo could also be in this video. That might be in a later video. Undo is probably my second favorite off of Vespertine. Hidden Place is great too, but this one is the one I chose for this video, and Bjork's growing on me like crazy. Let's just listen to it, let's enjoy it, and I'll talk about it after. Starts off with the weirdest kind of watery, just weirdness. She pulls you in immediately. It's a great intro, hooks you, and then the best part, the freaking chorus, man. It's so good. Hold up, right here. Just listen to the difference, man. Just the difference in sound between the chorus and the post-chorus, bridge, whatever you would call this, and even the verses. It's so varied and it keeps it fresh and interesting. I mean, that chorus is just so good. The bass line during that is definitely the highlight for me, but the strings are great. The soaring vocals, the little harp embellishments, but that bass line just kind of throws me around in a way that few bass lines can, I feel like.
Just lean into the crowd, and it will tremble ever so nicely. No tell.
She's just in the middle of a verse and it just goes into this detour of this like perfect sonic depiction of the lyrics here, and it's just it's so like unique and creative, and just like I feel like no one thinks to do that during the verse. It surprises you. It's so good, man. And she takes it to another level here. And then this weird kind of detour outro here. I love the way, especially with this song, Bjork kind of writes about the most mundane and everyday things in a way that feels completely like otherworldly and magical and ethereal. Like if you really look at the lyrics here, she's not like, how do I get the perfect day? 6 glasses of water, 7 phone calls. If you leave it alone, she's trying not to overthink here, maybe. Like I said, these are just mundane, everyday things that everybody goes through. But she sings like, if you weren't paying attention to the lyrics and you were just listening to the sound, you would think maybe she's singing about like very cryptic lyrics or very like metaphorical or poetic, but she's not, and that's what I love about it. And the chorus, the bass line, I mean, the chorus is definitely the highlight, but I love just the variety between the verse and the chorus especially. I love so many of Bjork's little phrasing things she does here and the way she kind of like enunciates certain words and like, I don't know, it's cool. Next up we have Welcome to Hell by Black Midi, of course. I just did a Black Midi bracket recently where I said this was the best Black Midi song, and I still think it is, obviously. This just feels again like the quintessential, perfect, all-encompassing kind of Black Midi track here. Let's give it a spin. Such an absurd riff.
So don't tell me of your troubles, your emotional grief. Experience the red rooms, the green tables, the souvenirs, make memories haunting or fabled.
Oh, that bass just shakes the headphones, man. Best part right here. Greatest drum solo of all time, right here. The freak out.
Fuck, don't stay in the street, lucky I don't shoot on the spot. Our bullets were made for men like you, the impotent idiots God forgot.
I mean, oh my goodness. If that's not like everything you want in a Black Midi track, I don't know what is, man. Like it's great to start, but the ending is really what takes it to the next level. Like it just gets better and better as the track progresses. I mean, the story is obviously gripping and engaging, but it's just the technical ability, the switch ups, the little embellishments, the little guitar runs, drum solos. It's absurd. The speed is great. The performance is just fantastic. Oh, the chorus with the horns, where it gets really massive. It's just, I don't know. It gives this kind of like, again, just like absurdist, bombastic vibe that no other Black Midi track really has, I feel like. I mean, there have been other tracks that give a similar vibe to this, but I don't think they've been mixed as well. Like the mixing, especially on this album, is definitely what makes it their best, in my opinion. And then you just pair that with such memorable riffs, fun switch ups, fun little instrumental moments, great lyrics, great performance. It makes it perfect. It's like the perfect Black Midi track, in my opinion. I feel like I didn't explain that one very well, but it's just, I feel like it kind of speaks for itself. All right, let's keep going. Next up, we have These Chains by Midair Thief. This is a kind of recent song discovery for me, and this album is amazing as well. Crumbling by Midair Thief. This is the most popular on the album, which makes sense, but it's also probably my favorite on the album. This one's dreamy. It's psychedelic at points. I don't know what he's saying because, you know, I'm a white boy, but yeah, I love it. Let's just listen. Such a busy but like serene guitar part. Love that little vocal part. pure bliss. Love the way he slides with that vocal. Oh, and then they let you down nicely. They kind of lull you into this sleepy place here. This is where it goes to the next level right here. This part's crazy. Oh, the outro is kind of like Tame Impala-esque almost. It's psychedelic. The drum fills are so good. The boom, drum fills into the next part. It's like the first like 4 minutes really lulls you into this dreamy, like meditative kind of place. And then the outro is really where it takes it to the next level. And it's just so nice on the ears, man. It's so nice on the ears. The textures are so good. So many interesting sound choices and weird, like, sliding synths. And I love the way he phrases his vocals, too. It fits perfectly. It's so good. Like I said, no idea what he's saying, but that doesn't even matter because the sound is so good. All right, let's move on to Basketball Shoes by Black Country Road. This is off of one of my favorite albums of all time, Ants From Up There. This is the closer. Let's just go. I mean, it's not till 3 minutes that the first vocals come in, but I'm completely entertained until that point because the instrumentation is just so dynamic.
Look at our phone anymore.
Love the call and response here between the bass and the sax. It's kind of like this welcoming riff into part 2 here as the song kind of evolves. And this great violin kind of build up here. Ugh. Just hard cut into the next riff. Crazy hard-hitting drums. Every hit feels super important because of how stripped back and minimal it is.
All your generous loans to me, your crippling interest. I beg sleep now when your crippling interest.
I almost cried again. I think I cried on a first reaction to that song. I cried multiple times during the first reaction to this album. That outro might actually be like my favorite moment in music ever. Probably the most like powerful and potent display of emotion that I've ever heard in music. And the fact that he's singing about Charlie XCX too while that is happening is kind of hilarious. Yeah, I don't get how a song can sound that massive, man. It's insane. If you guys haven't heard the live version of that song, check it out on YouTube. I think it actually came out before this album came out. It's this, but you see the emotion on Isaac's face too while he's just screaming his lungs out in this last part here, and it just adds so much to the emotion. It really makes it feel that much more human, even though this song is like as human as anything ever could feel. Next up, we have How Much a Dollar Cost by Kendrick freaking Lamar, off T-Pab, of course. And this is just storytelling at its best, so let's play it. That snare just,
How much a dollar really costs? The question is detrimental, paralyzing my thoughts. Parasites in my stomach keep me with a gut feeling, y'all. Gotta see how I'm chilling once I park this luxury car. Asked me to feed him twice, I didn't believe it, told him beat it. Contributed money just for his pipe, I couldn't see it. He said, my son, temptation is one thing that I've defeated. Nothing less, nothing more. I told him I didn't have it, then closed my door. Tell me how much a dollar
fantastic opening verse. Sets the stage for this story. Beautiful chorus here.
Staring at me, I started the car, then I tried to leave. Something told me to keep it in park until I could see. A humble man is all that we ever need. Tell me how much a dollar cost.
It's so good because it's each verse kind of leaves off on like almost like a cliffhanger too. Each verse feels like it's a story within itself, but it also kind of leaves off on a cliffhanger, so it's keeping you on your toes, wanting more. It's also just one of the best Kendrick beats ever.
I looked at him and said, every nickel is mine to keep. He looked at me and said,
strings that come in here.
You're looking at the Messiah, the Son of Jehovah, the higher power, the choir that spoke the word, the Holy Spirit, the nerve of Nazareth. And I tell you just how much a dollar cost. The price of having a spot in heaven, embrace your loss. I am God.
I wash my hands, I said my grace. What more do you want from me?
I will say this, I feel like it definitely doesn't hit as hard as it does on like a first listen. It's because it's kind of like a movie. It's like once you know the twist or once you know what's going to happen, while yes, you can still pick up on things on future listens or future watches if it's a movie, it still doesn't really shock you as much. Like, obviously there's a twist here. This guy is God. Yeah, like I said, it doesn't hit as hard as it does on a first listen, but even on multiple listens, like the instrumentation is just fantastic. The story is, I still feel like I haven't like picked up on everything in this story. There's probably stuff that I'm missing. I feel like I understand it pretty much at a like surface level at this point. The instrumentation, it's grand, it's cinematic, which perfectly matches and kind of enhances the feeling of it feeling like a movie, you know? Great, it's great storytelling, keeps you on the edge of your seat. If it's your first time listening to it, it's like insane, the story. But even on future listens, it's just, there's so much to pick up on. Probably my favorite Kendrick beat, like I said, ever. And I know he didn't produce it, but, you know, favorite beat that he's been on. Last up, we have The Glow. This track hits me hard every time I listen to it. This is off It Was Hot, We Stayed in the Water by The Microphones. This was my favorite track off of first listen off that album, and it is easily my favorite track now as well. Yeah, let's just go.
The blow came down from the hills, followed by snow.
I love how he lets it breathe. Very dissonant vocals, but they kind of resolve right there. Great sound design and atmosphere. This part just feels so welcoming and warm.
Hey, wake up, it's me, that glow. Wake up and listen close. Warm up and come down through the hills.
I started to glow.
I could just listen to this for like 3 hours straight, I feel like, and not get bored. And it gets muffled. This part's genius, man. It feels like we're kind of descending down to the cold, dark ocean floor. This whole track does a good job of like depicting lyrics perfectly with the sound. There's a word for that. Hold on. That's what it is. That's what it is. Word painting is the tone for that. Is the musical technique of composing music that reflects the literal meaning of a song's lyrics or story, which is what this track does so freaking good. Then this outro just takes it over the top. One of the most beautiful things I've heard.
Cold, dark ocean floor.
That muffled synth and voice or whatever it is.
From behind the door.
I feel like I'm here, man. And then that shimmering kind of perfectly depicts the glow. And it's only recently that I actually knew what this song was about lyrically. So the glow is kind of referring to kind of the pull you feel towards someone at the beginning of a relationship. And this song kind of captures that excitement, I guess, and that elation of beginning of a new like relationship. The blow came down from the hills, the snowy blow. I could feel far off the glow. So maybe the snowy blow is kind of the dark things in his life, and then the glow is kind of that one kind of shining light in his life, and he needs to move towards it. I'm getting cold. He gets kind of buried here. And then I guess this is the glow talking to him right here, telling him to come towards her or he or him, whoever it is. I started to glow, so now he's really feeling it. I just love the mention of nature too, because it really makes it feel timeless. It feels like this music is going to make sense like forever, because everyone can, relate to nature. It's always there. So yeah, swim out to the tide, swim till it got light, and then how the music kind of gets muffled here where the cold dark ocean floor, it's just like, oh, it's so good. It's so good. And then he asks to come inside, and then the glow, like I said, replies that literal instrument kind of acting as the glow. The lyrics are great, but the song is really elevated with the sound design and the choice of how to bring these lyrics to life. So freaking good, man. I think that's gonna do it for this video. If I had to choose like my favorites out of this list, I mean, like I said, these are all like perfect songs to me. Probably Sleep, Basketball Shoes, definitely. Basketball Shoes is probably my favorite in general. Sleep, Basketball Shoes, The Glow, and probably Miseducation. Those are probably the 4 best out of these, but again, keep in mind they're all freaking amazing. 10 out of 10 songs, as you see right there. I'll leave a link too to this playlist if you guys want to join it. So yeah, if you guys want to, not join it, if you want to like it, you can do that. Because I'll probably be using this if I do more of these videos in the future. So it's gonna do it for this video. These songs are freaking amazing. I love every single one of these songs. They are perfect. It's gonna do it. I'll see you guys later. Peace out.